Welcome back to Factorio. What are we doing in here? This isn't Let's Design, or is it? So the situation is that I actually made an hour-long Let's Design video, and I decided to scrap it because it got to the point where I was really not knowing what I was doing, and I was spending far too much time fiddling with things, and I decided, well, you know what? Gleba is a special case. Gleba is a world where we're going to have to really spend some time in deep thought and design in order to get this thing working. Now, I can just, you could experiment and just kind of ad hoc work out what to do on Gleba in the game, and I think I could work, but it would take a really long time if you're just experimenting wildly with no plan. So I've got a plan now, and what it involves is a little blueprint that I made. So here's my Gleba book. And in the Gleba book, we have several blueprints that I have put together. Now, we're going to kick things off with an explanation of a couple of these simple circuits. We're going to start with the counter. And this, I think I've shown this before, but it's a constant combinator and a decider combinator. The constant combinator supplies t equals 1, and that's to get it started. And inside the decider combinator, we have a condition. If t is less than 60, we output the value of t. But what happens when you output the value of t is it adds 1 to it, because this is always 1. That makes t raise by 1 every tick until it hits 60. And when it hits 60, it's not going to output the input anymore. It's just going to output 1. Here's what happens when we turn this off. The whole counter shuts down. So this is outputting 47, which is where it left off. And it's just frozen that way. So you can turn a timer on and off with this switch. Timers are extremely useful circuits because they allow you to set other signals up based on an interval. That's basically the whole purpose of a clock. All right, part 2. We're going to talk about the SR latch. I'll try and keep it brief, although if you're not familiar with an SR latch, this will be rather enlightening. We have 2 signals that we're putting in. They are both disabled at the moment. One is called S equals 1, and one is called R equals 1. S stands for set, R stands for reset. The light is set to turn on whenever A equals 1. And here's the logic. If S equals 1, we're going to output A. If A is equal to 1 and we're not resetting, we also output A. Resetting is R again, but remember, this little symbol is not equal. At the moment, this is a true condition because we're not resetting. So what happens when I turn the set on? The light comes on. Now, what happens when I turn set back off? The light stays on. This is what the latch does. It remembers that you tried to set it. Now, if we go to the reset and we turn that on, the light turns off. And we turn this off, the light stays off. Now, how does that work? We'll set it, and if we look inside, you can see that the act of setting it makes A equals 1. And as long as we're not resetting, both of these are true. So if I turn set off and I look inside, this keeps the light on. That's as simple as that. That's really all there is to it in an SR latch. So the fact that we've outputting A as 1 keeps the condition true, and since we're not resetting, A stays 1, the light stays on. As soon as we reset, everything turns off again, because the first tick, this will become false because R is 1, and then we will stop outputting A equals 1, and then this will become false, and even if I turn this off again, this stays off because it's off. A is not a 1. So that's an SR latch. The purpose of an SR latch is to output a signal on a certain condition and then stop outputting that signal when a different condition is met. So you have a set condition and you have a reset condition, and they can be whatever you want. They can be anything. And that's why the SR latch is so powerful, and it exists all within one combinator. This is the SR latch right here. All right, on to the next item. I have a blueprint I called Farm Simulator, and I'll show you what it does. Farm Simulator is a chest. This is just for testing. This isn't anything to do with the game, being in game. So this is simulating my harvesters and the Yamako and jelly nut trees that are in the world. And what that does is we've got an infinite supply of Yamako fruit, an infinite supply of jelly nuts, and we have provider chests that have nothing in them. Now, when I turn the switch on, this is like the enable switch. This will make the check signal 1. Now here we have a clock circuit, a little bit of a modified clock circuit. It counts 60 ticks before it resets. So once per second, it will tick over. But it requires the check signal to be 1 in order for it to function. And the same is true down here. So as soon as I flip the check signal on, this will begin counting from 1 to 60 and then repeat from 1 to 60 again forever. I've got a wire going to these inserters. Now you might notice that this wire goes from here to this inserter and stops. And then over here we have a different wire going to these two inserters and then stops, because I want to control the jelly nut harvesting rate independently of the Yamako harvesting rate. At the moment, they're the same, but because we're testing, we want to learn what the ideal rates are. And that will help us to design our harvester situation in the real game. So let's turn it on and see what happens. And once per second, we have a Yamako fruit and a jelly nut being put into their respective boxes. And these will fill up. They'll fill the chest. And we have to remember that in Gleba, everything spoils. And that's the reason why this is so challenging, but it's also a very exciting kind of challenging, because the spoilage mechanic is super, super difficult to really manage properly in complex builds. Now, if I hover over this, you'll notice that it says remaining time. And the remaining time is not ticking down perfectly, because I keep adding. So now we're adding new fruits to a new stack, and this stack is fixed. So this entire stack will spoil in 59 minutes and 22 seconds. And that's a lot of time. It's an hour. So if it does spoil, these inserters are prepared to put the fruits into these infinity chests, which will remove them, and that will just make them be deleted. So this is a simulator. This is for the purpose of pretending that we are actually harvesting things. So we'll turn that off for now, and we'll get rid of it so that it's not distracting, and I will show you the next step in the process. Within my blueprint book, I have a testing folder. These are kind of like folders. It's another book, so it's like a subfolder. And in there, I've got some experiments that I've been doing, and these are some of the builds that I came up with while I was working out how to get this going. I mean, if I look at this, you can kind of see that it's pretty pretty rough, but you know, it's got an evolution to it where I essentially was testing out everything to learn how to do Gleba. Where we're going to begin is this blueprint book right here called Startup Production. And I would like to make this book available to you guys in the comments section. So hopefully I remember. If I don't remember, please remind me and I'll put it in. But I want to put a link to this blueprint book because I think that a lot of you would really benefit from it. This is some really top-notch stuff on getting started with Gleba. All right, so we go inside. What do we have? We have an older versions where I putting, you know, previous versions of whatever. As I make changes, I will update the version number and I'll put the previous version in here because I'd like to keep it clean and organized. So where are we at? This is Power 1. It's just a simple set of solars, accumulator, and a substation. In the description, I have a little note. Save the headache, bring startup solars, also bring 1,000 stone. This is when you're first coming to Gleba. Now, I didn't bring stone and I didn't bring solars because I didn't think I needed them because you can get stone on Gleba. That's the only thing you can get right away, really, is stone. And solar panels, we know that on Gleba, the solar panels are very weak. They run at 50%. I would recommend just bringing them anyways because you don't need a lot of them. You're just getting started. Once we get going, you can get power through other means. So we're going to put Power 1 down and we're going to put it over here. Also, I'm going to unelectrify the floor because electrified floor is good for when you're initially building something, but if you want to see how things actually operate, and I am running on a preset for Gleba, like that. Here we go. We have got initial power. The next thing I want you to do is to open up the blueprint biochambers and place that down, and you just got to make sure that it's somewhere close enough where the large power pole will connect with that substation. Don't worry about this. This is not important. Over here, we now have a blueprint. You're not going to be having a biochamber in the beginning. The whole point of this build is to make biochambers, but you need biochambers in order to do that. So in the beginning, you're going to have nothing here. Everything else you can make. So let's have a look. You can obviously make all of these things and bring them to Gleba, except for the heating tower. Heating tower you have to unlock first by unlocking the heating tower technology. And that is simply from mining copper stromatolite, which are all over the place. So if you mine one of those, now you can make one. The recipe is really easy. It's just some concrete, a boiler, a heat pipe, and you got it. Now, why are heating towers really important on Gleba? They're important because heating towers can eat your fuel at insane speed. They produce a good amount of energy from the fuel. The temperature of a heating tower starts at 15 degrees and it will rise up to 1,000 depending on how much fuel you put in. It slowly drops over time on its own, but not very slowly. So the more you put into it, pretty soon you're going to be able to get energy out of it. That's not the purpose of this heating tower, though. The purpose of this heating tower is to get rid of things we don't want. I've got some instructions. The instructions are on a display panel. So it says, prepare all non-volatile ingredients ahead of time. And this is good advice. This is my advice to you, that you do not collect any eggs until you have this completely set up. And that includes supplying water to this pipe. So you're going to have to put an offshore pump somewhere in the world that gathers water and brings it into this pipe. And everything's good to go. So the next piece of instruction, if you hover over the display panel, you can see what it says. Use solars to power. We're doing that. Drop first egg in assembler with 5 nutrients. Now, you can't see it very well behind this power pole, but there's a requester chest. It wants 2,000 spoilage. You have to collect it. And there's all kinds of plants on Gleba that if you just pick them, you'll get spoilage. So go ahead and we're just going to pretend that we've done that. So here's the initial collecting of spoilage that we have gathered from plants. So we're going to pretend that we've done that. First thing it's going to do is this assembler is going to try and make nutrients from that spoilage, but nutrients only lasts for 3 minutes and then it turns into spoilage. So you want to be quick. You want to take your nutrients and you want to put it into the assembler and you want to fill it with metal and green chips and landfill. Then you're going to want to get a pentapod egg. Now, where did I get the landfill from? Well, I think you should bring it in your rocket, because if you look at the recommendations on the blueprint, it says bring 1,000 stone, and 1,000 stone will get you 50 landfill. So here we are. We're going to pretend that we've gotten a pentapod egg. So we're going to drop the pentapod egg in here. And we're going to get rid of the rest of them because we've only collected 1 in the wild. And what does that do? It makes you a biochamber. So you pick up the biochamber, and if you have bots enabled, it will automatically drop it down. If you don't have bots enabled, or if you want to do it by hand, I recommend what you do is you put the blueprint down again, because there are wires that go from the biochamber to this inserter and this piece of belt. And it's super important that those wires be in place. So let's get that blueprint again. Biochambers, and we're just going to place it right on top of the old one. You can see the biochamber is the part it's going to place down, because this is one we just built. And everything starts working. So the nutrients are going to get put into here. The water is going to get put into here. And this nutrients is about to spoil. We might as well take that out. Have some new fresh nutrients put in. Now you're going to want to get a second pentapod egg. You have to collect at least 2 in the wild. So we're going to put 1 pentapod egg here. And we're going to get rid of the rest. Now if we watch, as soon as this gets to 30 nutrients, it's going to take your pentapod egg and it's going to give you 2 pentapod eggs in return. Now I have a pentapod egg right here on this belt. I'm not sure why this inserter didn't pick it up. Let's try it again. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's not. Why is this insert not working? All right, so something odd has happened. Target full. Oh, is it because of the spoilage? Take the spoilage out. Aha. You take the spoilage out and now it picks it up. So you're going to have to periodically steal nutrients and put it in here. It's a little bit of a manual process, but it's not too bad. We'll take another 5 nutrients out and we'll put those in here. You only need 5 nutrients to make a biochamber. Now, why are these pentapod eggs showing up? You'll notice that what we've got here is a circuit where this inserter only works when there are no pentapod eggs in the biochamber. So this inserter is not going to insert more into the biochamber. And also, this piece of belt, watch what happens now. It's going to freeze. Yep, it froze for just a split second. This belt will freeze if there are no eggs in the biochamber, because it's only enabled when you've got an egg in the biochamber. If I was to take this egg out, or if it stops crafting, like here, let's take the egg out, right? I take the egg out. You notice that the belt stops and this gets enabled. What that does is it basically ensures that the first egg that comes onto the belt gets picked up and put back into the biochamber, and all the other ones get carried on down the line. We're going to take more nutrients and we're going to put more nutrients in here. And notice that we've got 2 biochambers, so you've got more and more biochambers, and you can continue to do this perpetually. All you got to just take the nutrients. Oh, spoilage is gone. See, it uses a lot of spoilage. So you're going to have to run around on Gleba collecting spoilage by hand, a little bit of manual work. But with this blueprint, you should be able to get a significant number of biochambers. Now, we're going to try this in-game. So let me switch over and let's give it a shot and see how well it works. Here we are in-game. This is exactly where I left off. And we're going to put that build down. Well, first we have to import it. Let's do that. All right, we've got the Gleba book. And let's put the biochambers down. And let's find a good spot for it. Now, I, of course, have advanced a bit further already because I've got power and everything, right? But we're going to pretend I don't. Well, biochambers it's one of the things I haven't actually gotten yet, because if you remember, I don't have a lot of biochambers. All right, where should we put it? Let's put it here. I've got a few things I'm going to have to make. I'm trying to remember the recipe for the display panel. Where are you? Here we go. Oh, wow. Yeah, oh, that's nice and cheap. And now we just have to make a heating tower, which we can do. All right, I am completely hooked up and ready to go. Now, I want to get lots of landfill. Remember, this is all before getting the pentapod egg. I don't want to get the pentapod egg until I'm ready to go. So, where's my... Yeah, here's the stone. Well, that's a good amount of stone. So let's make landfill from that. And this is the same amount that you'd get from your ship. So that's really good. We'll make 48 landfill. And we're going to go back here and put the landfill in the chest. So now we've got landfill, we've got the iron, and you're going to have to, bring that from your ship. We just have to get nutrients and pentapod eggs. So my question is, do I have enough spoilage to really get going? I'm not even sure. It's actually been a fair bit of time since I've played. I'm trying to remember the state of things as I left it. Ah, you know what? Well, this is probably a bad thing. So we're going to take this down because this is eating up all our spoilage. I don't want that. Here's some spoilage. Yeah, all these things that I was experimenting with before, those are spoiling. So, in fact, you know what? I'm going to take all of this down because really, it didn't work. Cool. All right, it's down. That's not really enough spoilage to get going, but I'm comfortable collecting some from the wilderness. There's still a fair bit of places I haven't touched yet. We're going to go get an egg. I think we're ready. And when you get that egg, remember, you just drop it in here with the and then put some nutrients in, and oh, you know what? Water. All right, biochamber has water. You just really want to make sure that everything is set up in advance. So drop first egg. Instructions say drop first egg in assembler with 5 nutrients. That's this one. And then constructed biochamber will complete blueprint. That's this. So now we're placed second egg in chamber. Feed spoilage into requester chest to duplicate egg. Repeat process with duplicated eggs, producing more eggs until you have a dozen or so biochambers. This is what the goal is. That's the whole point of this build, is to get your biochambers up and running. And I'll show you what you do when you've got enough. Let's gather some more spoilage. Great. All right, let's... What are they doing? All right. So there's a medium regular pentapod. I don't think that's going to help me because I want an egg. But I will kill that one. Oh, wait. Yep, that was an egg raft. All right, so there's an egg. Now that I've got the egg, I will bring it back. And it turns out I have one. Okay, then. Now we drop the spoilage into the chest like this. And this is going to take a little bit of time. It's just the way it is. You know, the nutrients are building up. And as soon as this gets to 30, it will duplicate this egg and give me 2 eggs. And then it will take one of the products and put it back here to be done again. And just keep making more and more eggs forever. Or until it runs out of nutrients, at which point your pentapod egg will eventually spoil, and then it will hatch, and it will try to destroy things and kill you and stuff like that. So you have to shut it down gracefully. You can't just let it come to a stop on its own. So we've got a biochamber being made. Now we have more eggs. We're going to put more nutrients in and we'll create a couple more biochambers. Feel free to take them out when they're done. All right, we're going to need more spoilage, so let's go collect some. All right, well, that should do it. Drop the spoilage into the blue chest. And then this gets processed into nutrients and it will feed the egg. Now, remember, see, I've got 13 minutes left, so it's plenty of time. You don't have to panic. Just make sure that you get the nutrients before this egg hatches. That's the main thing. And the spoilage, if you have spoilage in this machine, you got to get rid of it. So don't worry too much about that. Just try not to waste your nutrients. So this is by no means a fully automated build, as you've noticed. There's a little bit of busy work to do, but the thing that it saves you from is having to get a lot of pentapod eggs in the wild and then figure out what to do with them before they hatch. So that's it takes the pressure off. That's the main thing. I need spoilage quick. I would recommend getting like 3,000 or 4,000 spoilage, honestly, before you even beginning, but you know, I just didn't do it. Make sure you take the biochambers out because it only puts 2 in here before the whole thing gets gummed up again. All right, so here's where we can stop for a bit, and I'll show you why. Because I've got 13 biochambers, and see the instructions say, repeat the process with duplicated eggs, producing more eggs until you have a dozen or so biochambers. That's what you want to do. Now, we're going to stop this by taking the egg and, well, you know, I was going to destroy it, but I might change my mind, right? I have an idea. See, you can drop the egg in the heating tower and it just goes away. It never hatches, it'll just burn up. So that's how you end this cycle. But then, think about that, I'll have to go and get a new pentapod egg. Okay, all right, new plan. we're going to go to the Gleba blueprint startup section, and we're going to skip to egg stasis. I was going to work my way down the line here, but I'm going to put down egg stasis, which is this little blueprint. It's nearly identical to this, actually. It's just not making biochambers. Instead, it's built on the idea of keeping an egg in stasis, which is the name of the blueprint. All right, let's. We will pick up the egg, though. We'll take it. We take it, and then we'll pick up this blueprint entirely because some of these parts can be used. Actually, you know what? Let's put the blueprint right here. Now, we're going to look at some of the things that we need to build. We need to build 6 yellow inserters, 4 lamps, constant combinator, an efficiency module. I'm going to put these in because I don't have the other kind. That's fine. Oh, wait. 6 yellow inserters, 1 red inserter, 1 more constant combinator, and a programmable speaker. We're also going to have to hook up power. Okay, so what does that mean? This is an alarm. Notice the alarm. It says egg containment low. And it shows you exactly what's going on. Egg containment is low. We're going to put the egg into the chamber. And what does it want? It wants spoilage. So we're going to collect some more spoilage real quick. Okay, I have 416 spoilage, which is enough. Now there's 22 in here. So the reason the alarm is going off is because there's less than 400 spoilage in the blue chest. So all I have to do is fill it and the alarm goes away. So that is an alarm that's meant to warn you and scare the shit out of you that you don't have enough spoilage. So let's collect some more because I didn't quite collect enough. I do love this alert. Egg containment low. It's such an apt description. All right, so we drop the rest of these spoilage in here. And now we've got like 700 and some, right? Now I will explain what this does, but first I want to set up another blueprint. Let me just check the jelly nuts real quick because I need jelly nuts for this next one to work. I'm going to do it by hand for now. Let's just take... Yeah. I don't know. We'll take that many jelly nuts and we're going to put up the next build. Because we want spoilage without having to run around and collect it, right? So we go to the blueprint book, startup production, and we say spoilage. And I made these so that it doesn't really matter where you put them because it uses bots. But if you put it close by, like we'll put it close to this one because it'll help. So where does the spoilage go? Yeah, yes, the spoilage ends up here. That's cool. All right, let's hook up power. And we're going to need to bring a roboport in range. I would recommend bringing lots of roboports to Gleba to start with. Don't hold back. That's one thing I forgot. Hey, look at that. It's already going off. Right, let's go take care of that first. Because you are going to need a constant supply. A very, very constant supply of spoilage. It's meant to be a little nerve-wracking, you know, just to emphasize the importance of it. So what do we got here? We've got requests for Yumako, and we got requests for jelly nut. We're going to put the jelly nuts in here. And the Yumakos, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, I didn't put my my Roboport down. That's important. It says on the way 0, logistics storage 335. Well, that's curious. Yeah. I wonder why the bots aren't coming for these. Do I just not have enough bots? Well, it's not that. All right. Well, we will worry about that later. Let's get these. Let's get these fruits into this chest by hand. It's very strange. Oh, well, look at that. Now they're coming. Although, oh, it's because it was a buffer chest. I forgot about that. I forgot about that bit. Okay. So the third requester chest, we want a bit of spoilage because it takes a little bit to get it started. You're not going to want to do this without your bots. It's just, no. Don't even try. Okay, there we go. So this chest just needs a little bit of spoilage. It doesn't need a whole lot. Because that will make nutrients and that will get the whole process rolling. Let's put more in here. There we go. Now look at that, makes that shut up for a bit. I might actually put this on a timer to make it even slower, because what this is doing is it's using up the spoilage. Well, the only real concern is to make sure that the nutrients can build up before the nutrients itself spoils. It's not even the pentapod egg timer isn't even the concern. It's all about the nutrients. I've got about 520 spoilage left in this chest, and when it gets down to 400, the alarm will go off again. But if I'm lucky, I'll have spoilage being generated soon from this build, and I'll explain how that works later. I'm just following this seed as it's being taken by a bot. Well, there goes the alarm. Okay, so the seeds are getting put into this. That's working pretty well. Hey, you might have noticed that the alarm shut off on its own. Why did that happen? We have a whole bunch of spoilage now. How did we get the spoilage? Well, the spoilage came from this machine. And it came from spoiled jelly, which is... I did some looking around in the recipes, in the Factoriopedia, really. And I was looking at spoilage, right? So you see spoilage? And spoilage comes from all of these different things, right? And you just got a process of elimination. Well, it's not going to be anything long-lasting, so it's certainly not bioflux or the two fruits. And it's not going to be your science. It's not going to be fish. It's going to be either nutrients, Yumako mesh, or jelly. Well, nutrients is hard to come by. You can get nutrients from Yumako mash. 4 Yumako mash can make 6 nutrients. All right, that's fine. But you have to consider that you only get 2 Yumako mesh from a fruit, but you get 4 jelly from a fruit. From one fruit, you can get 2 mash which can be turned into 3 nutrients. Or you can use the other fruit and just get 4 jelly. And so jelly, when you let it spoil, which takes 4 minutes. Oh, that's interesting. So mash spoils in 3 minutes, but jelly spoils in 4 minutes. Okay, that's worth noting. Yeah, it is 4 minutes. So the most efficient way to get spoilage on purpose is to make jelly and just let it spoil, which is exactly what I've done here. So I've got tons of jelly, and here comes the spoilage. So that gets dumped into this provider chest, and the bots take it over to this requester chest and keep filling it up until we get 2,000. At the moment, we are up to 1,700. So I'd say the egg stasis containment is in no danger of failing at the moment, as long as the harvesters just keep harvesting. So that's been a long episode of me talking and explaining things, and I hope it was helpful and educational. And I will put a copy of the blueprint book as it exists currently into the description of this video. Of course, you won't see this video until about 3 weeks from today, my time. Like, it's actually Christmas Eve day here. So, but I don't think I'll be posting this for a while because I've got quite a backlog. So I will be posting a link to a blueprint book, and I'm sure it will either be what it is now or better. So that's it for now. We have egg stasis and we have spoilage. That's fantastic. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.